Okay, hello. Happy Thursday, everybody. We have an upper body strength and core workout today. We're going to need some specific stuff, starting with our warm-up, where I'm going to be using this here long band for our warm-up stuff. If you do not have a long band, you can use nothing. You can just use your arms and follow along, doing the same thing that we're doing with this band. But if you have it, bring them out. We're also going to need our dumbbells and our loop bands as per usual, as well as if you do have a TRX, if you want to incorporate it, today is a good day for that. So we're going to start off extending our arms out to the sides, palms facing down, passing through these guys, which we know and love. There and back is 1. We will go through 10 of these total. This should be comfortable, not painful. So if you are feeling a little bit tight, like you cannot get your arms back there, widen up your hands, or if your band is too narrow, you can just, again, drop the band and go body weight. So we'll go through 10. Once we're finished 10, we're going to keep our arms in that same position and work with these figure 8s, where one comes up and around, and then the other one comes up and around, and we'll count those rotations, every one of them. That's 3 for me, and then 4, and we're going up to 10 total. So one arm moves, the other one stays. It can be a little bit funky, a little bit of coordination. Good morning, brain and body. So we'll go through these ones, 10 of them total, and then we are going to put that band down and keep our arms out to the sides, just to, get those shoulders burning, because that's what we're going for. Palms down, and let's swim it out with these little movements up and down. You're on a timer, so don't worry about counting these ones. They are also a little bit tedious to count. We're going through 15 seconds of these ones. Little guys, up and down, palms facing down. Again, with the intention to get our shoulders burning, to release the fluid in the shoulders, which is that feeling that you're feeling. We're going to turn the palms now forward and go forward and backward instead of up and down for the next 15 seconds. Okay, again, we're burning. We're trying to breathe through the burn, work through it. It's a good thing if you're feeling it. As we come to an end here in about 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll relax those arms and we'll roll out our shoulders as big as they can go backwards 3 times. And then we'll go forwards 3 times, big circles. And then forwards, big ones, just keeping our arms straight down by our sides. 3 and 3, getting everything moving in your upper back, shoulders. Next one, we're headed down onto the floor. So come on down here and join me in our all 4 position. We're going hands and the knees, shoulders over top of the wrists, hips over top of the knees. We'll be working with our thread the needle, reaching that arm all the way through with an extended arm. Exhaling, opening up, trying to follow that hand with our eyes. 10 of them on each side. So we're trying to not move the legs, the lower body. We're just moving that upper body, moving through the torso. Closing and then exhaling as we open, going through 10 on this side, and then we will switch and do 10 on the other side. So we'll work through these ones. They feel nice. They're going to help us loosen up our chest, our shoulders, our back off the last few days of training. So we'll get both sides going on here, 10 and 10. Once you're finished those, don't go anywhere, because we're going to stay down here for one more, which is us laying down on our tummy. What we're going to need is some space. So I'm just going to, that sunshine is bright. Pull myself away from the wall a little bit. I'll actually turn around so I have a little bit more room on this side. Laying down in our Superman position, arms extended out in front of us. We're going to turn our palms so that our thumbs are facing the ceiling like so, and then lift up just our arms. Okay, the legs, the hips are going to stay down. The arms lift. We're going to reach them out to the sides. As we do that, we'll turn the thumbs down, rotating them all the way back, bringing our hands, trying to touch our knuckles together behind our back. Getting as close as you can, and then we'll come out of that one. The entire time, the arms, the hands are going to stay off the floor. That was 1. We're going to do 5 of these. So some of us might not be the most comfortable getting our hands together behind our back, and that's okay. We're just going to go as close as we can. If you can't quite make contact, that's okay, because you probably just are a little bit tight, and this one requires quite a bit of mobility to get our hands together and back here. especially when we're laying down. Oftentimes we'll do this one standing. So just work it as you can. We're going to go through 5 of those, and then we are standing back up to the top. So once you're finished 5 of that little handcuff stretch, you can stand up, and we're going to pick up our band again, this time holding it a little bit wider than our shoulders, much more narrow than before though, standing up nice and tall. We're going to bring the band down to our collarbones and then push all the way up and over our head, bringing the band back behind our head onto the back of our shoulders, trying to make contact, and then we'll press all the way up and over, back in front. That was 1. We're going to do that 5 times. So all the way behind, not moving our head and neck out of the way, keeping that still, and again, tapping into that mobility of our shoulders to bring those arms and hands behind our head. So again, there and back is 1. We'll go through 5 of those total. Should be feeling a little bit looser as we go through them. Once you're finished 5 there and back, we have 1 more here with this band. Last one of our warm-up, which is going to be a band pull apart. So I'm holding my band as it's quite thin, just kind of double over like this. If you're working with a stronger band, you might want to drop 1/2 and then go through these pull aparts like this. And again, if you're not using a band, we can go into this bent over position, rotate those thumbs up, and then work with that similar motion, going through 20 reps. Maybe I should have started with that. So we'll get 20 of these guys in, 20 of these band pulls, and then we're probably pretty dang warm, if I do say so myself. So as you come to an end of those 20s, you can put your band down. We are going to use it again a little bit here, but you can grab a little bit of water if you would like. We are going to get you started on our first 2 exercises, our first superset that we are going to do. So very first one, we are going to start off with a shoulder press, because today upper body focus is going to be on the shoulders and the back. So starting with this shoulder press, we're going to be doing this one in a standing position. I'm going to grab onto both of my dumbbells, bring them over here. If you're not using dumbbells, you can always use a loop band held like this, or you can use your long band anchored underneath something, which we will talk about, and I will kind of show you guys how to do that one. But most of us have dumbbells, so we're going to use those dumbbells going through 15 reps of this 1-arm press. So I'm going to start off with 1 single dumbbell like this, because if I go right to both of them, that's quite heavy, and I'm not sure if it'll be too heavy for 15 reps. So grab a weight that you think you'll be good to go for 15. This first set here is going to be our warm-up set. So your weight, if it's a little bit light, that's completely fine. We're in this neutral grip position here. We want to be not quite in front of our shoulder like this. We have a bit of an angle, but we're not in the wide grip out here, right in that sweet spot in the middle. We'll press up over our head and then come down and stop when that dumbbell is nice and close to our shoulder. Again, all the way up, 15 of those, and then we'll switch and do 15 on the other side. That non-pressing arm should be out and strong, and that's going to help promote that strong core, that strong body, so that we don't end up arching our back or, using our legs a little bit or anything like that. So that is our first movement here. Like I said, this first set is probably going to be a little bit easy. So what we're going to do is go right into another set of these ones, back to that first side, making it feel more challenging. So what I'm going to do is try to use both of my 8-pound dumbbells. Okay, we're going back up here, and I'll see how I feel going through 15 reps with these 2 dumbbells, okay, which is going to be challenging, but I got it, okay? Hopefully you do too. If your dumbbells are too heavy when you double them up, you don't need to add more weight. You can just add a little bit more time at the top of your rep, okay? So you can hang out at that top end position right here, where it's a little wobbly, a little unstable, as that's the hardest part. And if we slow her down up there, this weight's going to feel a lot heavier than if I don't do that, okay? So you can start your first official working set of our 15 reps. We want to make this feel really challenging, okay? We don't want to be feeling like we could get 16, 17, or 20 or anything like that. 15 is it, okay? Maybe you're a little bit wobbly on those last couple reps. That's what we're looking for. So we'll get this first set in. We are going to pair this with something, a back exercise. As you finish up these ones, again, if you are using a TRX, now would be the time to shine, because what we're going to pair this one with is our 2-arm rotational row. So I'm going to be using my dumbbells because I do not have a TRX, but if you do have one, you can incorporate that in doing the same thing, the same rotation that I'm going to talk about with the dumbbells. If you are using dumbbells, we're going to start off holding them by our sides, standing nice and tall, hip width apart in the feet, soft knees. We'll push our hips back, back, back. So we're in this bent over position. Palms are going to turn so that they're facing our thighs. And then we're going to row and rotate so the palms are facing the ribs. Okay, we let that go. That's 1. We're doing 15 of these rotational rows total. So as I let my arms down, I'm rotating my hands like so. And then as I pull in, I'm rotating and pulling my shoulders behind my ears. So same rules apply. And if you're using that TRX, we're working with that same rotation. It's just rowing in our body weight. And for those of you, again, who are band users, we can anchor our bands. Okay, a little something like this. And then you can work with that similar, same rowing motion. And maybe a little bit more upright, depending on where your band is anchored. 15 of them, okay? As you finish those up, we are going back to the shoulder press. No rest here, okay? Just the time it takes us to, take a couple deep breaths and get going on our next set, okay? So once you finish those rows, as quickly as you can, we will try to get going into our second set of that 1-arm overhead press. We will be completing 2 more to make it 3 sets total, okay? Again, no rest for a reason. So we will try our best to hustle into our next set. Okay, back to our shoulder press. Get a nice strong core, belly button into the spine, arm out strong, exhaling as we press up, inhaling on the way down. Okay, and 15 reps total. So we'll work with those ones on this second set. Again, we're doing 3 total, so we want to ensure that all of them very challenging. Okay, again, we don't want to leave any reps in the tank. We want to make 15 feel extremely challenging, like that's all we can do. All right, so sometimes we might have to slow down depending on what weight we have. Or if you have options, you can grab heavier weights. All right, let's get it. Okay, pressing. So again, I briefly talked about using our anchor bands for our press. So I have that band anchored underneath this bookshelf, and we can press up over our head with this guy instead if you do not have dumbbells. Or maybe your dumbbells are super light or super heavy and you're unable to press them for 15, or maybe they're too light for 15. The band is something that you can try instead if you have it. All right, so we'll get the second set in. And when we're doing our rows, no matter what you are using, it's very important that we're being active in our upper back. We want those shoulders moving as we go through this row, pulling them behind our ears so that we end up with this 90-degree angle in our elbow. Okay, rather than leaving them behind and sort of winging our elbow up like this is not doing us any good. We're training our back, and that's what we're going for here. So we'll try our best to pull our shoulders down and back. And the other thing you can think about is sending that dumbbell a little bit lower into your hips. It should line up with belly button or maybe just below it, rather than like your chest or your bra line up here. And you can see the difference that makes in creating that 90-degree angle. And that's going to go a long way in this one. So we'll try to lock that in here on the set and on our last one, because we have 1 more after this one. And then we are moving on. 3 sets, so nice. All right, so we'll get this one in. Set number 3 on these ones. And then, what do we got next? Yes. Okay, so we'll work through this 3rd set and taking our time with it. Okay, presses, and if you want to pause, we do it at the top for our rows. If you want to pause those guys, make them a little bit more challenging, we do it here when the dumbbells are pulled in towards us. You can pause there for 1, 2, maybe 3 seconds. And again, it's just going to make those weights feel heavier and maybe make that 15 feel more challenging, which is what we want on our last set. Okay, so we'll take about 2 more minutes here before we start our next part. We should be on our final set. Awesome. Okay, for the shoulders, for the rows, 15, 15. Let's do it. All right, nice work, guys. So finish up here as you are coming to an end. You can grab yourself some water. Whoop, 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 whoop. Give you guys just under 1 minute to finish this up. So as you are coming to an end, we will just rest a little bit and keep all of this stuff out as we are going to need it for the next part, which, yes, okay. So again, we will grab some water. We are going to move on to part number 2, superset number 2. I'm going to start talking about it right now. So if you're still finishing up, just take your time. But if you are done, you're going to get set up and ready to go for some sets of a 1-arm row. So we just did that 2-arm row. We're now going to be doing 1 arm at a time in a 3-point position. So I'm going to use both of my dumbbells stacked up, again, same way I did that shoulder press there. And I'm going to bring myself to a wall. Now, you don't have to use a wall. If you don't want to put your hands in a nice, clean, white wall in your house, you can use a chair, you can use the back of the couch, bookcase, anything that is stable. We want something to hold, though, and that's going to help give us some support for our core and our lower back. We're going to feet are hip width apart, hinging our hips back with that hips back situation. So we're in that same rowing position at 45, not parallel with the floor, but we're up here. I'm going to take 1 arm and extend it out, and it should be straight and in contact with the wall or the chair or whatever you're using in front of you. We're going to grab onto our weights and then hold them in front of us, palm is facing in this time, and I'm going to row 1 arm in at a time. I'll actually switch so you guys can see that rowing arm, and we row in like this, and we're doing 12 with a 2-second pause. 1, 2. Every single rep, we pull in and we hold. 1, 2. Okay, we're doing 12 over here with a 1, 2, and then we'll switch and do 12 on the other side. So we want this hand here. It's going to help support our core, but we still want to pull in our belly button to our spine to help tighten that up in there, okay? So we'll work through this one. You can start your first set. If you're using bands instead of dumbbells, we're just going to loop that band underneath that foot, okay? And then you can work with that 1-arm row with that band rather than that dumbbell, all right? So we'll work through these ones. 12, 2-second pause. Don't forget about it, okay? Especially on your second side. We'll work through those ones. 12 and 12. And then we got a little something going on with this one. Okay, I'll let you guys finish that one up first. For those of you who don't have a wall or a chair or something to put your hand on, what you can do instead is just use your leg like this, okay? So ideally we want something in front of us, but this works similar to help give you that same support through your core, okay? As opposed to not like this. Everything in here has to work so hard to support ourselves. So that's why we want to put that hand out, because that's not what we're going for, okay? We have lots of work for our core later on, our lower back later on. We don't want it in our rows. All right, so this is our first one. Woo! Those take a little bit, eh? 12 and 12. With that honest 2-second pause. With this one, we're going to get down onto the floor. So once you're finished, you can come on down onto the floor. If you have the option to anchor a band in front of you, okay, like mine is here, then you can set that guy up. If you don't, then we can hold the band sideways, one side in each hand, long band, loop band, doesn't matter, like this. And those of you who don't have bands, of course, you're just using your arms. We're going down. Superman position. We're going to be working with the Superman with a pull-in. So I'm going to pull in this band towards me,
keeping my arms above the ground the whole entire time, lifted off the floor. I want my feet down, my hips down, my legs down. Just the upper body, shoulders and arms are lifted off. As I pull in, I want to pull the shoulders down and back and squeeze my elbows so I feel my back muscles working. And then we reach out and we'll go through 15 of these ones. No pause, unless you want to add in a little extra here, okay? Because if you pause right here, it's going to make you feel everything a lot more. So if you're feeling like you want that, then we can hold here 1, 2, and then we can let it out, or not, okay? That one's optional. Whereas the rows is not optional, okay? That 2-second pause is in there for everyone. So this is us, 15 down here, okay? And we're doing back exercise on a back exercise. Both of these are focused on your back muscles. So we're going to take some rest before we start our next set. 30 to 45-second rest range is what you get right now after you finish those Supermans. So, you can lay down there and take a couple breaths, stand up, okay, walk around, grab some water, sit down. It doesn't really matter what you do, but we do want to take some time so that we have a stronger set, all right? Because back on back, all right? So we want to rest these muscles for that little burst of time here before we do our next set. And this one we are doing 4 rounds total. So you just did your first set. We are going to complete 3 more, okay, with this time between each set. So shake it out, grab some water, and we are going to get started on our next set here. Set number 2. Okay, back to our first one, our 1-arm row. Okay, and this one here, I'm going to turn forward just so you can see what's happening with my arm. We want that palm facing in. When I pull in, I'm pulling in and slightly around my rib cage so that my arm or the dumbbells never touches my body. Okay, because when we touch the body in like this, we're involving a lot of this muscle, your bicep, which is not what we're going for. I keep talking about your back because that's what we're trying to work. So by kind of pulling in and swinging out slightly wide into that angle there, it's going to allow you to use the most of this guy and not so much of just your arm. So something that you can try, and that applies to any equipment that you're using, whether it's the TRX, okay, the whatever band situation, something like this, right? Or the dumbbells, we want that same angle in the arm. For our 12, with the 2-second pause. Very nice. Okay, so we'll get through the second set of these ones. Okay, so we're doing that one side. Switching, we'll do 12 on the other side. 1, 2 at the top. And we're not just holding, we want to be actively thinking about pulling that shoulder back as much as we can. Okay, so if you haven't been thinking about that, you have 2 more sets, 2 more chances to incorporate that in. Okay, all right. So we'll get down on the floor for this next one. That Superman. Again, if you don't have something to attach your band to, because I get it, some of us, just the way we're set up here, we can't anchor our band to something. Then what you can do is just hold it sideways in your hands like this, and you can work with that pull in going through the band like this rather than having it attached to something. Okay, and that band is going to give you some tension on the back of your shoulders, a little bit more so than if you were not using the band. So if you have it, use it. Okay, 15 of them. Woo. And should be feeling that. A lot back there, okay? That's why we have these 2 paired together, so you can get your back muscles going. All right, so we'll rest. And then we have 2 more sets to go of these 2. Rows on Supermans. And then we're moving on. All right, so resting. And we'll work with that 3rd set. Okay, so a couple deep breaths. And doing whatever you want to do in this rest. long as you take it, but not too much. Okay, we want to keep it under 45 seconds, under a minute for sure. And that is so we can get through this stuff in a timely manner. Don't rest for too long. We will take about 3 more minutes to finish up our final couple sets here. So should be starting that third one relatively quickly here. Okay, back to our rows and thinking about that core. Kind of pull your shoulder back a little bit more, focusing on that pause, 2 seconds. Okay, and we'll work through that set number 3. Let's do it. Okay. So our third set, there is a prickly thing in my foot. There we go. All right, set number 3, my friends. Yes. We're finishing up strong here. One more to go after this one. Yes, and then we're moving on to the last part of our strength. Look at us go already. We got our core work. Okay, so we'll take again about 2 more minutes. Finish this one up. And then the last one. Okay, so we'll work with that row, trying to be very intentional with that pause, holding it in here, trying to drive that shoulder behind your ear. The more we can do that, you'll feel what happens. Okay, so let's try to bring that in here on our final set. The last one on these 2. Supermans. Something that makes a really big difference on these ones down here, okay? And this is something that you can do on your final set. So as we pull in, if our elbows are driving up to the ceiling like this, we're not really going to get the work in our lats and the sides of our back muscles here. We're going to get it sort of in the back of our shoulders and the tops of our shoulders. And that's not what we want here. We want these guys working. So something you can think about on that Superman is thinking about pushing your elbows down to the floor, which is going to put you into this position, which allows you to actually use this, okay? Because if our elbows are up like this, we're just not able, our body's not able to activate this muscle. So if we drive the elbows down, okay, lay down, I'll show you guys, like this, rather than like this, makes a huge difference. So let's try to incorporate that in wherever you're using the band, sideways, no band, it doesn't matter, same rules apply. Think about driving those elbows down. Okay, lifting your shoulders back more, and you'll feel what happens in the sides of your back, okay? So we'll try to bring that in on this last set, because this is the last one on these 2. And we have a few more to go. Okay, let's get, so I'll give you about 1 more minute to finish this up. And then we have our last part. Okay. Let's sit on these ones. Okay, last minute. You're done. As you finish up, okay, grab some water, rest it out, think about how good you feel in your upper body. We are going to be moving on to our final part, 3 exercises, and it's the last part of our strength. Okay, I'll give you about 30 seconds to finish this part up, and then we are going to move on to our last part, okay, which is going to start with the dumbbells. Again, we're going to need all of that same stuff as we have options on these last ones here. Okay, finish up those Supermans. There it is. Get that elbow positioning. Very nice. And then I'll grab some water and get ready for this last part, which is on a timer, but not an interval timer. We are going to stick you on a AMRAP, which is our as many rounds as possible acronym, an AMRAP timer. So for this last part here, we are going to be spending 10 minutes doing the following 3 exercises. Your amount of sets that you get will depend on you, and how fast or slow you go, and how much rest you take in these 3 movements, okay? So timer for 10 minutes, I'm going to talk about our first movement, and then I will press start on the timer, and we'll talk about the other 2 on that timer as we go through the 10 minutes. The very first one, I'm going to be using dumbbells, 1 dumbbell in each hand. We're working with a lateral to front raise. So we're going to go front, and then we're going to go side. The combination equals 1, and we're doing 8, okay? So the side plus the front, that's 1. I'm doing 8 of these, okay? If you are working with bands, what you're going to do instead is hold a long band sideways like this, and then you'll work with the band like this, and then we'll just lift it up at the top there, okay? Working with, again, 8 total of that combination. So we're going to start our first set. I just pressed start on our timer, although there's no beep because it's just a running clock on my phone. But we are starting our first set, okay? So we go side to a T, and then we lift up in front of our shoulders, turning our palms so that they're facing down. Okay, that's 2, and then here we go. Okay, 3, and we're working with those 2 equals 1. So the side plus the front is 1. You're doing 8. All right, so we'll get through those ones on this first set. 8 of them. Okay, maybe they're not going to feel like the hardest thing in the world in this first round, but we're going to talk about that on the next one, how to make this harder. We're also doing some other stuff with this, including the next one, which is a wide grip shoulder press. So if you have those dumbbells, we're going to bring them out into this wide grip position in line with our shoulders. We want 90 degrees at our elbows, and we're going to press up and over together, and I'm going to kneel so you can see what's happening because I get a little cut off up there. Press together over our head so the dumbbells are almost touching. We don't have to make them make contact though. And then down and apart, so we're in this 90-degree position here, okay? We're going through 12 of these guys total, all right? 12 of them. So down and apart, up and together, 12 reps total. And if you're working with a band, we're gonna hold the band sideways, and you'll work with that similar shoulder press over our head, okay, for our 12 reps total. And then the last one, I have to double check here. And final one we're going to do. So finish up those 12. Take a couple deep breaths, okay, because we're going to need them for this last one. Soft knees, we're going to hinge our hips back so we're in this same bent over position. Palms facing each other. Opening up into our rear delta flies. 15 reps is the count, okay? So for some of us, these dumbbells might be on the heavy side. If you need to make them feel a little bit lighter, you can pull them in slightly so your elbows are bent, and we can do the same fly with the bent elbow. It's gonna feel substantially more manageable than if we have completely straight arms. Don't get me wrong, I prefer your arms straight, but you might not be able to do all 15 with straight arms. Especially after those first 2 that we did, okay? So try your best. 15, if your dumbbells are too heavy, you can grab onto a band, or if you don't have dumbbells at all, we can work with this bent over band pull instead, okay? As we finish up here, we have 7 minutes left, okay? So we'll go right again into that first one, that lateral to front raise. Now, for some of us, we might want to take a little bit of rest right now. Okay, maybe that same 30 to 45 seconds, but others, we don't need the rest. Okay, we can just go right into our next set. And that's where it really depends on how many sets you're going to get. You might get 3, you might get 4, you might get 5, probably not more than that. I don't think that's possible. But feel free to kind of gauge yourself. The other thing that we can control here is our tempo. How fast or how slow we're doing these movements. We know that with most strength stuff, the slower we go, the harder it is. So that's going to apply here. If you do want to make these more challenging, we can slow down, we can add pauses. Okay, we've talked about the different points. These ones here, we can also even do kind of this kind of thing. If your dumbbells are quite light, we can move to the front, okay, and do 1 and 2. So if you're working with like little baby 3s or 5s, that's something that you can try. For our shoulder press, we can pause the top, this wobbly position here. That's where it's going to be the hardest. We can hang out there a little bit longer. And then for the last one, the rear delts, which you probably don't need to do much. They're probably good at 15, but if you want to, same thing. We can pause this top end position here. Woo! And that's, you'll feel it. That is going to make your weights and set feel a lot more challenging, okay? So let's do it. We're just about halfway through. We have 5.5 minutes left of this tri-set. So pace yourself. Keep in mind you're okay to take some rest, but only at the end, okay? After you're done with 3 movements, after those rear delts, that's where we'll take the rest. We're trying to work between these, hustling between them, taking little to no rest between each movement, okay? Just after the last one. And we're halfway through, so we have 5 minutes left. So you'll most likely get, another 2 sets if you've already completed 2. But we're not worried about how many sets you get here. We're worried more about making each exercise feel extremely challenging, okay? By the end of that number that you were given by me, we should really want to stop, okay? We shouldn't feel like we can keep going on the raises, on the presses, or those rear delts. Those numbers are it, all right? So we'll try to make that happen for ourselves in these last couple sets. Now 4.5 minutes that we have left. All right. There it is. And perfect. Okay, so take our sweet time with it. Knowing this is our last part for our upper body strength for today, for the week with you. So we'll finish up nice and strong here. All right, trying to, again, get between these as efficiently as possible, all right? So a couple things that we want to avoid. Especially on these ones, we're going to be getting tired, fatigued, our shoulders are going to be burning. We've done a lot of stuff before this, and so by now you're probably feeling quite worked in your upper body. But I want you to try your very best to avoid these couple things. Okay? Thing number 1 is momentum. This lifting of the body to get those weights up. Okay, I know most of us are not doing it, but it might be happening, okay? Especially on this press here, we might be sort of doing a little bit of knee bend to get those weights up. Any kind of lower body addition to the shoulders or to any press or raise is cheating, okay? So we want to try our best to stop that from happening. The other thing that's very important that we don't do is arching our back, okay? This kind of situation here, we want to make sure that this is tight and strong. Pulling in our belly button, the other thing you can do is squeeze your butt, contract your glutes. The more you can do that, the more stable you're going to be here. So if you feel like you're sort of pushing your hips forward a bit on that press, you can think about that, tighten up the glutes, and then you can go through your set, and you're going to feel so much safer, okay, through your low back and through your torso here, rather than you sort of doing that little forward situation. 2 minutes. All right, we're not too worried about that though. We'll try to just take our sweet time through this one. Maybe start 1 more set. We will have a little bit of time between finishing this part and having to start the last part. So if you do go a little bit over this 10 minutes to finish up the set that you just started, that you will be starting, that's okay. All right, so just keep working through it. 1.5 minutes left. We'll pace ourselves through these ones. There you go. Okay, again, making them very challenging. Trying to make that number feel like all you can do. Which sometimes it's hard to do, but I try to give you all those little reminders, those little things to think about as they do go a long way. They make a big difference. Okay, so 60 seconds left. Woohoo! We'll finish strong here. As you guys are finishing up this last minute, I'm going to set up our timer for our final part, which is down on the floor, which is all about our core and our abs. Okay, so keep going on that part there. And I'm going to set us up over here for this part. Okay. So like I said, you guys, if you need a little bit extra time here, I want you to keep going. I don't want you to stop, mid-set, halfway through your reps, okay? There we go. Perfect. Okay, so let's do it. Finishing up, where's that timer? Oh, we got 10 seconds left. Okay, so I'm actually gonna turn this bad boy off. Timer is done. So you are also done. Again, if you're in the middle of an exercise and set, just finish it, do it up. And then we are gonna move on to our final part here, which takes us 12 minutes. So we have a little bit of time if you need to finish up that set. And this last part is all down on the floor. So we're gonna move down there and stay down there. Equipment-wise, we will be incorporating some equipment. I'm going to be using this band, this orange one here, in this anchored fashion, okay, where I have it looped. So I go like this, and then I pull one side through, and now it's attached down here, and I'm going to be using it for some core exercises over here. Again, most of us don't have this as an option. So instead, I will give you a body weight option that requires no equipment, as well as a dumbbell option. Okay, so you can keep your dumbbells close, set up this band if you need to, or just set up your body. We are going to get down onto the floor to stay, and I'm going to angle us down so we have a little bit more space on the camera. There we go. All right. All right. So our very first core exercise is going to be a dead bug version. I'm going to be doing a banded dead bug where I lay on my back and I pull that band over my shoulders, and we're going to work with the dead bug. And if you don't have the band, we're going to grab onto our dumbbells. We're working off of a timer for this one and the next 2 exercises. There's 3 movements total. We're going to complete 3 rounds of this, okay? So we have 3 opportunities to do each one. And we'll talk about this one first before I press start on that timer. I'm getting too ambitious there. So this dead bug here, laying on your back. Again, if you don't have the band, we're going to pick up these dumbbells and hold them in our hands here. If you have this band, then we're going to grab it and pull it over our shoulders like this, lifting up our legs 90 degrees. And then we're going to extend one leg at a time, trying to push our lower back down into the floor so tight that there's no space under there, okay? That's very important, crucial. That's the most important part of this one. So I'm going to press start on this timer. We're going to get you started in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Okay, again, if you're working with dumbbells, we can hold our dumbbells up here and then just drop them back slightly and work with that similar position in our dead bug. Okay, again, back into the floor, very, very important. So we'll make that happen more than anything else. If you're not using anything in your hands, then we're just going to hold them up here like this. Okay, and work with that dead bug. 20 seconds left. There you go. Woohoo! Nice work, you guys. So we're breathing and back down. Let's get it tough. Very nice. 3, 2, 1, and standing or kneeling into this position here. If we have our anchored band, I'm going to come over to one side and grab it like this. If we're working with a dumbbell, then I'm going to hold one dumbbell in my hand like this, okay? And we're going to extend, if you're using the band, we're just going to extend the band in and out. If you're working with a dumbbell, we're going to keep the dumbbell out and rotate one way, okay? Over, and then we come back to center, and then we're rotating over and then back to center, keeping that dumbbell out the entire time. We want our hips to stay forward. We're moving through the torso, okay, to the side and forward. And if you're using the band, we go in and we go out. The further away you are, the harder. So if you want to make it more challenging, we'll move away and imagine that there's a lane right here. We have to send that hand in and out of that lane. 3, 2, 1, and we're going to switch sides. Okay, so we have to do the other side. So if you're using the band, we're just going to turn around. If you're working with the dumbbell, we're going to go the other way now. Okay, so hold this one here. Bring it in though, rest your shoulders a little bit. And let's go. So lifting it out, and we'll turn to the side, and then we'll come back to the center. We want to go not too far, just out on a slight angle so that we feel tension in our torso as we rotate out to the side. So I'll turn so you guys can see what's happening over here. And we go sideways. We'll keep our butt and hips in one place. Just the shoulders and your ribs are going to rotate. Okay, 20 seconds left. All right, so again, doing this one, we go in and we go out. Trying to breathe. There you go. Keep working with this one. Very nice. This one's way harder than it looks. I know. And time. Okay, the last one, we don't need any equipment. We're just going to sit down on our butts and walk our hips back. So we're sitting on our sit bones, the back of our hips, the bottom of our butt. Sitting up, leaning back, we'll be lifting up the legs, extending out the arms, going as low as we are comfortable with. We're still in control. And then coming up and touching the outsides of our heels. Okay, so this one's our jackknife. If I need to make it easier, I don't go so low. Okay, we don't have to go all the way down there. And we don't want to if you lose it and if you fall down like this. Okay, we don't want that to happen. We want to keep that tension. So we'll go as low as we can, 20 seconds. We want to lift up our chest. Pull our shoulders behind our ears so we're not around and forward like this. Relax the shoulders so we don't lose our neck. 10 seconds. Woo! This one really gets it going. 3, 2, 1. All right, awesome. So we're going to do that 2 more times. And then we're done. Back to the first one, our dead bug. All right, so if you're using the band, you know what's up. We talked about it. Using dumbbells or whatever it is, grab them and let's do it. So we're dropping them back slightly to put more tension on our core. The same tension we get if we pull that band over our shoulders. As we extend the leg, we want to exhale. Inhale as it comes in. Exhale, put your leg out and push your back down. So 2 things happening at once. We're sending out the leg and also pushing our back down tighter, and you'll feel that work that you get in your core. 15 seconds left. There you go. Okay, very nice. So we'll work through this one. Awesome. And time. Nice work. Okay, so going into our second set. This one's called our call-off press if you're working with the band. So again, it makes a big difference how close or far you are. If you want to make it more challenging, then we'll come out a little bit more. Push those arms out and you'll feel what's happening. The band wants you in. So that's what we're working here, is resisting that urge to rotate in. With that dumbbell, and we want to keep our core tight. And as we come out here, you'll also feel like that dumbbell wants to fall, your side wants to fall. And that's where we're getting that work, is staying upright and not allowing yourself, your hips to move or your body to fall, okay? 15 seconds left. And yeah, there's a little bit of burning shoulders in here, maybe because we did all that shoulder stuff before this, but try to breathe through it. 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, other side, switch sides. Or just stay there if you're working with a dumbbell. You don't have to go anywhere. Okay, but we're gonna turn around if we're using the band. Getting ready. And here we go. Okay, working with our second set. So something that really is going to help you keep everything stable and still in here is, again, that contraction of the glutes. We want to think about squeezing our butt so that we don't end up arching our back like this or having our hips fall back. We want to be nice and straight, strong. Okay, as we go through this set, 20 seconds left. We got this. Okay, breathing through them. Exhaling as you send those arms out. We're exhaling as you do that rotation. Inhaling as we come back to center. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Time. Awesome. Okay. Woo! Nice work. So we're going to sit up. Take a deep breath. Walk those hips back. Okay, and that makes a big difference. So we're not sitting on the back of our tailbone. Chest up, legs up, arms out, and we go down and we come up. Okay, trying to keep that chest up. Exhaling as we come up. And trying our best to work through this one for 30 more seconds. Now, if you find this one's really hard, and no matter how low you go, you still really struggle to get yourself coming back up, what you can do is put your hands on the floor and then come down onto your elbows and then use your arms to slightly assist yourself. It's going to help you work up the strength to do this with no hands. And it won't take long. Okay, but you have to make sure that, again, you're in that nice, strong, high chest position. 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Time. All right. All right, my friends, here we are for the final set. Okay, we're going to do one more round, and then we're done. Okay, so back to the first one, dead bug, starting right now. All right, let's do it. On to our third set of the dead bug in one. Okay, so pull that band over and try our best to push our back down. Even if there's a little bit of space under your low back, you're missing out on so much. Okay, so tighten that up. Even if you think it's tight, think about pushing it down more. Okay, especially as you send that leg out, because that's where it's going to want to feel like it sort of pops off a little bit. So we're going to push it down even harder. We'll get a little bit shaky, a little bit wobbly there. But that means that you are very strong with your back. So keep it up. 5 more seconds. Let's go. Last one. 3, 2, 1. Time. Great work. Okay. Push it. On to the next one, that single-sided one. Okay, that pull-off press. Rotation with the dumbbell. Are you ready? Ready as you're ever going to be? All right, let's do it. One side only. I'm trying to think about our core, especially if you are working with this dumbbell rotation. We have to be very active in here. Okay, we don't want to just be rotating. We want to think about actively pulling in our belly button to our spine, squeezing the butt. See if that helps you get that connection with your core. You should feel this in here. All right, 20 more seconds. And we know that sometimes simply just thinking about it helps us feel it more. Connects our mind to muscle connection. 10 more seconds. Okay, I just want you guys to get the most out of this, which is why I keep reminding you. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, we're gonna switch sides. Very nice. This one is way harder than it looks. Both of these ones, the banded one and the dumbbell one. But we're almost done. Second side starting right about now. All right, let's go. On to that second side. Okay, trying to do the same thing we did on the first side. Breathing through these ones and working through the torso. 30 seconds left here. Okay, so I'm trying to control everything that's happening. Slowing down, trying to do it even. Whatever you did on the first side, you want to do it evenly here on the second side. 15 seconds. There you are. Okay, so a few more of these. Yes, almost there. In 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, the last one. All right, we have those jackknives. Best for last, maybe. These ones might be the hardest ones, maybe. All right, we're gonna get them done. Sit on up, lift those legs up, chest up, and that was you, your starting beat. So let's go. Okay, this is it. Our final set, our final round of these ones. Gonna bring us to the finish line of today's session. 30 seconds to go. We are done the work. We just have a few quick stretches that we're going to go through together, and then you're free to go. Okay, but 20 more seconds right here, right now. Don't give up on this one. Okay,
Told you all the ways to make it a little easier if you need to. Ways to make it harder if you need to. 10 more seconds left, okay? This is it. Get that chest up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and time. You are also very done. Nice work, my friends. Okay. Woo! Hopefully we're feeling all that up in there in the best way possible. We are going to stretch it out, starting out with our hips. Okay, because we just did a lot of stuff to work the hips, the front of the hips here. So what we're going to do is get ourselves into this half kneeling hip flexor stretch. We want to hold on to something, all right? So find yourself a wall, a chair, something that you can hold on to so that you don't have to think about balance and stretching at the same time. We want to make sure we're in this strong forward tilted in our pelvis like this. And the other thing you can do is, again, contract that glute. Those two things do the same thing to help us increase the stretch here. The last thing that we're going to do is take this hand on the kneeling side and reach it up and over towards the wall. All right, so don't worry about reaching too far, just enough so that you feel that stretch increase down the side of our hip, the side of our abdomen. And we're going to hold this here for about 30 seconds. So we'll be doing one sort of quicker set of these, this one and the next one. If you would like to do more, okay, make yourself another 5 or 10 minutes after we're done here together. You can incorporate another few sets of these stretches. Doing more sets is going to help you feel more loose. Okay, so if that's something that you want, you have to cut out a little bit of time for yourself. So we'll release that arm, release that stretch. We're going to switch sides. I'm going to turn around here and do that same stretch over on this side, same tilt in our pelvis. We reach that arm up and over our head. And this one feels so nice in the front of the hip. It should not be painful, just tension through that hip flexor. Okay? We do this one so often, and we do this one very often for a reason, because these muscles get very easily tightened and shortened as we sit for lots of the day, whether it's for work or whatever other reason there is. And so that's why we are here loosening them up. Okay? If you have tight hips or a sensitive lower back, if you get lower back pain, this is going to help you out. All right, so do a couple more sets after this. But we are going to release this one and bring ourselves into our hands and knees position here. Work with some of our cat-cows, rounding our back, and arching our back. We can do 3, maybe 5 of these. Really depends on you and how many you want to do. Once you're finished those ones, we'll go into this child's pose where we sit on our heels, walk our hands away, which is a great stretch for our lower back, as well as our upper back. We'll feel it down the sides of our back. We did all those rows. Yes, and we'll hang out here for about 30 seconds in this stretch. So taking some deep breaths, trying to sink onto our heels, lengthen our spine to feel everything opening up through your backside. Nice deep breaths. So I'll let you guys stretch that one out there. As you are finishing up that 30 seconds, there's one more, or there's a few more that you could do, but we do so much upper body stuff. Okay, so what you can do to finish up is some of this action, reaching behind your back, pulling your shoulder blades together behind your ears to get a nice stretch through the front of your shoulders and the top of your shoulders, okay? If you're not quite bendy enough to reach back there, if it feels like it's stretching too much, you can find your door frame, okay, or you can do one side at a time, okay? That's the last thing that I would highly suggest you stretch is your shoulders, a little bit through the front of the chest. But you guys are done with me. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, Dave, in the Zoom room. Whoop, whoop. See you hopefully tomorrow. And if you are watching the replay, please drop a comment below. The last thing that I will mention before I let you guys go here, so I give you some ample warning, and I know because Dave's not in our Facebook group, on Sunday at 10 a.m., I'm going to be going live in here just to give you guys some updates because I have some ideas and some things cooking for both online and for in-person training, and I want to talk all about them with you guys. So if you can make it 10 a.m. Sunday,
Zoom. I'm going to be like 15 minutes, something like that in here. And if you can't, I'm going to record it and upload it so you can just watch it after. Anyways, thank you guys so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow for leg day. Okay, bye.